Hi, everyone. Welcome to another family meeting. For those of you who are new today, my name is Cindy Hovington. I am the founder of Curious Neuron, and today we are talking about toys. I wish that you, well, actually, I don't wish that you could see all these toys around me tonight because I've just taken everything out of closets and cupboards and storage spaces. I have some images to share with you, but basically, the goal of tonight is to give you some ideas of not just what to buy. I don't want to give out only specific brands and toys, but I'd like to help you. Um, I always try to give you the knowledge that you need so that you could navigate through stores and websites and figure out, what your child needs or wants. So let me just see here. A few of you are online. Before we begin, hi Yasmin, Karen, Shelly, and Allison. Welcome to tonight's family meeting. Let me know in the chat. So we have a chat on the right side. Let me know if today is your first family meeting or if you've been here before. What we do is every Monday night we meet at 8:30 p.m. and I talk about different things. It could be about parenting. It could be about any aspect of child development. Sometimes we have guests as well. I try to keep it entertaining, I hope. And sometimes I share, experiences from my own life. It's not just about being a neuroscientist and knowing the knowledge on development, but it's about my experience. You could know everything about, development and still not be able to apply it in difficult moments. So we've had tantrum, topics and so on. For those of you who don't know me, I am a mom of three. I have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. I have a Ph.D. in neuroscience and training and education as well. So I've merged those two things to kind of share the information with you. So come say a quick hello. Let me know if you could hear me on the chat. I'm just going to write. Usually I start up by saying, can you hear me? I'm trying on a different mic tonight. So usually I have a little speaker, but now I turned on my podcast mic to see if it works a little bit better. I'd like this one to be a little clearer tonight because I'm not close to my computer since I'm showing you all the toys. So just let me know if you could hear me. On the right side, just somebody write yes or no. Yes. Okay, thank you, Karen. Perfect. I could continue. I'm never sure if everybody hears me. I am from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, for those who don't know. So pardon my accent in certain words. Perfect. Hi, Joe. Hi, Allison. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I love the holidays. And a lot of people think because I kind of know how to navigate toys and buy toys that I buy a lot. It's the opposite. I don't buy that much for my kids. We do buy toys, and I love searching for toys. But what I kind of sit back a bit because I know they're going to get a lot from family. I don't know if some of you struggle with this. Just this huge, like this is what makes me a little bit nervous around the holidays. Is I know that I'm going to get this huge influx of things in my house. And especially now, looking at everything that I took out, it's kind of making me feel a little bit anxious because there's a lot. That's the one thing that sort of gets me nervous. But I love the holidays. I love trying to find something for the kids. For those of you who want to know, this year they're getting Legos and walkie-talkies. That's it. They might get a puzzle or two, but I know that they're going to be getting a lot of stuff from family. So we really try to minimize. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you love to just buy because I love the feeling of seeing them happy, right? So I don't know if you guys like to buy lots of toys for them or if you kind of limit it with them, but that's how we go about it this year. Don't tell my kids are getting walkie-talkies. All right, so I have a little presentation ready for you. So it seems from the survey that I sent out yesterday that most of you have children between the ages of 2 and 3. I'm going to cover 0 to 6. I'm going to do some parts fast and some parts a little slower, especially 2 to 3, because I know that most of you have children in that age range. If you're here and you have a question, I'm going to turn it to Q&A mode on the chat so that you could ask your questions. And as always, there's a hand at the bottom. If you want to join me and ask me a question, go ahead. Also, if you want to ask any parenting question, if you've had a struggle this week that you want to work through, go ahead and post it and I'll help you out with that. That's what these meetings are for. It's to meet with you and to chat with you and take that time to get to know each other and help each other out, just like a family meeting is in the home. So let's get started with I'm just going to pop up this slide presentation because I want to show you the questions that I ask myself when I'm buying toys. Does it have multiple purposes? And what I mean by that is it just something that, for example, I always think of a car ramp. Are they just going to press a button and the car just shoots up? And I mean, it's fun. It's entertaining for about 5 minutes. And then my child is going to put that on the side and not look at it anymore. So I really want toys that have multiple purposes. So I have a lot of pretend play and open-ended toys, like animals. I know that with these are Schleck animals, but we have some from the dollar store as well. A lot of the toys that I'll show you, I'll let you know which ones, but I like to, we have a lot of family members. So I married somebody who's Italian, and so he has lots of family members. And what we tend to do is to give them a list of toys that are a bit more expensive so that everybody gets in together and collectively buys, let's say, these building blocks for the kids, or, some sort of, I have a wobble board, so they collectively buy that. So we like to do that for gifts. But for me, what I look for is something that they can use a lot and not just in one stage. So what I mean by that is, my 2-year-old might enjoy this, but my 5-year-old or 6-year-old might still play with this. So there's longevity in the toy. So, something like this might be more expensive, but I know that I'm going to use it for years to come. One big question that I do ask myself is, does it entertain my child? So what I mean by that is mostly the battery operated toys. So is it for a young child, let's say, something that they press the button and it sings a couple songs to them, or sings the ABCs, or does a little dance and entertains my child? Or is it something that my child has to play with, like this, and pretend I'm the cow going around walking on the farm, and they entertain themselves? The reason why I look at this is because if the toys, the majority of the toys that are surrounding our kids are toys that are entertaining them, we're not making their brain kind of create and imagine stuff. And I want my child to develop that creativity so that they could have that more independent play and figure out what to do when they're bored instead of being entertained all the time. So does it mean that I've never owned a battery operated toy? No. We have received some as gifts, and we rotate one or two into our toys, because I do rotate toys. Sorry if you hear a lot of screaming or laughing. My husband, as always, is giving all 3 kids the bath, and they're not sleeping at this time because my kids don't sleep. So yes, I have some of those, but I try to minimize what's in their environment in terms of how many there are. Is it something that my child is really interested in? I ask myself this question. Or is it just a popular toy? So maybe more with the older kids, if they see something that another child has, or they see something on TV on a commercial, is it something they just happen to see and really, really want? Or is it the type of play that they're currently interested in? So what I mean by that is, are they really into cars right now? And all I see them do is play with cars, go around, create a racetrack, create a little city with their Legos. If that's the kind of play I've noticed that my child is into, then that's the kind of toy I'll probably buy. Maybe add to their toy collection. Maybe buy wooden blocks instead of Legos so that they can build more houses. Maybe buy some wooden toys that have, I don't know, a little house or a parking garage from Melissa and Doug. So that's what I mean by really thinking about what my child is interested in. Let's see if there are any questions. Not yet. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so let's start with 0 to 12. The first thing I put up on the list is a mirror. It's not something we might think about. I'll show you a picture after, but usually, especially for a child or baby who's doing tummy time, placing a mirror in front of them is a toy because they see themselves and they're like curious about it. Who's this person in the mirror? So it really gives them something to look at, and it's kind of stimulating their brain in the sense that they're able to look at something and get curious about it. So having a mirror in front of them is, something. If somebody wants to offer you something and just had a baby, a mirror, give me a nice little mirror, a low mirror that I can place in front of the baby during tummy time in their play area. Books and instruments are on all my lists, and I actually forgot to add puzzles for the later ones, but I didn't spell. Okay, books and instruments at any age. at a baby's age, anything like this is called like a rainmaker, I believe. Anything that they shake. So again, they are using the toy to entertain themselves. It's not entertaining them. So they need to do this to get the noise. A sensory bottle or bag. And I'm just going to flip to the picture so you could see that. Items to explore. I'll tell you what I mean in a second. An activity gym and minimizing stimulation. So not a lot of lights and sounds around them. You just want them to entertain themselves. So let's move on to a few pictures. So the activity gym on the left is the one I personally have. What I wanted to show in that is that it doesn't have the singing and the lights and the flashing stuff. It's very simple. What we have here is a mirror, and also I forgot to add to the list, but I have a picture of it here. On Amazon, there are contrast, it's called high contrast cards or high contrast books. So it's basically books and cards that have black and white images. So here what I did is, do I have this frame around me? No. So I took a frame from IKEA that's standing vertically, and I put in a high contrast card inside that I just printed off the internet. So that allows the baby, because babies under 3 months don't see very well. It's blurry. First it's blurry and no color. Then color starts to, like, they start seeing a bit of color, and they start seeing a little bit more clearly closer to 3 months. So, you know, placing books and stuff around them, we can read to them because listening to us speak is what's helping with language development, but having images, they can't really see it, so they might not get interested in it. Having the mirror in front of them again is that reflection. They're going to see the sort of blur of themselves. So it's still a good toy to have, but what you want are these high contrast cards. Then in that picture on the left, I'm just going to sit down because I'm sitting on the floor in my basement. So you can also see that I have 3 different types of balls. So there's the old ball, I believe it's called, and then the other ones, it doesn't matter what brand it is. It's just what I'm showing you is that there are different ways of grasping each ball. So that's what I try to look for. Sometimes you have these little rings as well for babies. Oh yeah, I have one on the picture on the right, the blue one here on the right. The little blue ring, those 2 for a newborn that's learning how to open and close their hand. As soon as they open their hands a little bit, the way that I play with a newborn baby is by placing these little rings in their hands. So they right away kind of tighten around them, and then they keep it in there, and then I play around with them that way with that little ring. Anything to chew on, like I have in this picture. I like to buy the wooden stuff. Again, this was a gift, but they're better quality, and we keep them for a long time. My children play baby with these. They play my mommy and baby, so you know, we've kept them for a very long time. And you'll see this owl, I don't even know where I got it. I got this like 5-6 years ago. But what I wanted to speak about, the reason why I included it in the picture, is because anything with different textures. So if you see sometimes these like little, like a moose or some sort of bee that has a wing, and the wing crinkles, and it has like a soft part, and it has like a little prickly part. These types of sensory toys, just to give them something to touch. Basically, they're discovering the world around them using their senses. So giving them things, offering them sort of these types of toys is what will help them explore around them. You see in that picture, I have 2 bottles. These are from Michael's. I think this one is $1.50 and this one is $3. When I talk about longevity in a toy, you might not think of this as a toy, but these are my favorite toys, because when my children, when they were babies or infants, what I did is, as you can see in the picture there, I took some why can't I remember, buttons. I took some buttons and I placed it inside this bottle, and it creates a shaker. So you make your own shaker. You can even add some tape all around it. And that way, when your baby's doing tummy time, they can roll this, and that sound, so they're making the sound themselves. They're not pressing on a button to create that sound. So there's a cause and effect going on there. So their brain is getting curious about it. So by doing this, that's a toy that they can play with. As they get older and they can hold it, they could shake it. And then for my older kids, I give them this when they're playing pretend. So they might put the buttons in here and then pour it in there, and they're pretending that they're a scientist or a pharmacist or a doctor, or they're creating a potion and they're a wizard. So these toys that we might not think of are literally things that we will use from 0 to 5-6 years old. So this is just an example of certain things that we might not think of. And yeah, so I just have 2 little shapes. Let's see if there are any questions. Let me know if or these are things you might not have thought of. So also, these are puppets that I have from IKEA. You can get puppets anywhere, Amazon, I think. But again, with babies, especially when their eyes are learning to track, I like to talk to my babies, and even if we're just like singing a song, I play with this and I move it around. So the little infant is looking at you, but also following the puppet. And talk about longevity. I don't remember how much these were, maybe $10. But then when my babies got older, then they started playing with them, and now we have puppet theaters. We just created one from a box, and we play with them this way. So again, this is something that I had from the moment my kids were born to now they're still using it at 5 years old. So it's worth the investment in that. Again, here are just some examples of things that they have to hold and manipulate with their hands. At the top left, I think this is skip and hop. This little, it's an instrument. And again, there are different instruments that you can buy. This one is a HAPE instrument, and it's just something that, again, they have to manipulate to make sound and music. Any sort of musical instrument from the time that they could move things around is a great toy for them to have in their environment. What I like to do, for those of you who have been following Curious Neuron for a while, is I have also many little baskets in my play area. And then for my baby or even my toddler, when he was a toddler, I would place just one in a basket. So it becomes something they pull off their shelf, they remove, they play with. Maybe I'll put 2 things sometimes, depends on your child. But I try to minimize the toys. So if I have 5 or 6 musical instruments, I won't place them all in a bin in front of them. I'll just minimize it, place this on the bookcase or the shelf, and that's it. And then in a week or 2, depending on my child isn't interested anymore, I'll switch that out and put something else inside. I have cups here, so a toy that is a stacking toy, even anything that's like a ring, like the Fisher-Price one is really good. It's just the rings, and then you stack one over the other. So any sort of stacking toy is great too. They'll only play with it when they're closer to a year old. Every child is different. And here there are some blocks, any sort of baby safe block that is rubber. What they do only at that age is they like to break the tower, but that's fine. That's actually part of the development. So they have to break the towers first before building them. So playing with them, you just sort of build a tower and they smack it down and you build it again. And that's the kind of play that they'll do closer to a year old. Now at a year old, like 1 to 2 years old, now this type of play is going to change closer to 18 months because at around 18 months, they're going to start pretend play. But what you're looking out for between 1 to 2 years is really understanding what your child enjoys, because there's something called play schemas. And let me just make sure there aren't any questions here. Okay, so play schemas basically is the type of play your child might be interested in. So your child might enjoy placing objects in bags. So I have a 16-month-old baby, and right now what he likes to do is take objects and place them in, I'll show you, it could be a little tray or a little container. So this is one of my baby's favorite toys, because he likes to take why can't I find one? Oh, here. So this is, these are from Michael's in the section where I found like rocks and gemstones. These are, I like to play with my older kids. I pretend that it's ice cubes and I place them in a tray with their little penguins, and we pretend that, it's the Arctic and we're playing with their polar bears and penguins. But with my 16-month-old, I place a few of these back in this little container. So here, I place a few of these here and this on a shelf. So that's one of his toys. And he'll just take one of these little cubes, he'll place them in here, I'll do it with him, he'll remove it. He becomes really intrigued by the sound and the shape, and then he'll go put it in another bin. Sometimes I offer him this, and he'll place it in there. So he's into the play schema of taking things and putting them inside something. So I might offer him a bag, an old makeup bag that I have, and he loves doing that. I don't zip it up because he's not at that stage yet, but he likes to put it in, dump it, put it back in, dump it. So that's one of the play schemas. A child might be into rolling things. So he was into that stage a couple weeks ago, and now he's not really into that anymore. He would take cars and just roll them down the living room, or balls and just throw them. He's sort of still in that, but now I've noticed he's playing a lot more by putting things, objects inside. So being aware of what our children are into allow us to say, okay, well, how can I provide sort of items in their environment that will nurture or keep feeding the type of play that they're interested in. So here Joe asks, I try to put 6 toys in front of my 10-month-old, but then my 3-year-old will put out all the toys from shelves for everyone to play with. It's so hard when you have different age groups. Right now, I have to say that I'm at the point of having, so my 16-month-old, 16, and then my 3 and my 5-year-old, the 16-month and the 3-year-old, it's a really tough age because 3-year-olds starting to be more independent and wanting to do things, but then the baby is kind of destroying everything. So I totally get it. Yeah. It's really hard to minimize things, or that another child takes it, but you know, they're all gonna play with it the way that they want. Okay, so now moving on, I'm gonna put these back. So 1 and 2-year-olds, a magnetic whiteboard. So I don't know if you could see behind me. This is one of the greatest things that I've ever purchased to put in my play area, because it's a magnetic whiteboard, and I place it up on the wall because now what happens is that once my baby was standing, or even when he was just standing but not walking yet, what he would do is just place, I have these Melissa and Doug magnets. So they have just like a big box full of them. Look how these are old. They're losing their, it's a polar bear. No, a panda. And what they do is they just place it up on the whiteboard. And again, thinking about toys that you can use for a long time. So under a year old, they will place it on the whiteboard. They'll remove it. It's a motor task. It's a vertical task. It's getting them to do things this way rather than down on paper or on the floor. And then with my, when my children were 1 or 2, we were using these to help with language development. So I would say, where's the horse? And they'd have to point to the horse. Where's the elephant? They had to point to the elephant and grab the elephant. Then I would say, when they got older, I would point to an animal, and then they would have to say the word. And that's how we practice certain words. Once they were a little older, closer to 3 years old, and that's what I do with my 3 and 5-year-old, they have their little bin here of magnets. And what they do is they take, we have Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse and the whole family here. And we create a story. So once upon a time, Daisy went to the zoo and she saw an elephant. So what happened? What did she do? So we use this whiteboard for so much. Then we use it to color. It allows my kids to color and draw whenever they want. One problem we're having right now, though, is I have to try to keep the markers away from my 16-month-old baby because he's trying to write on the walls. So I'm trying to work on that with him. But as long as I'm close by, I keep the marker here at the top. But when my baby's around and I have to step away for something, I take that marker away. I've learned my lesson because you can't see the mark that's on my wall on the other side. Let's see, building toys, a toddler knife. So you might not have thought about it, but if your child is closer to 2 years old, on Amazon, if you type in toddler knife, there are knives that are safe for children, and they can cut bananas and boiled eggs, strawberries, any fruit that is soft, a melon, watermelon, for example. And it really allows them to be part of what we do in the kitchen, which they actually really like to do. Some of them, not all. And then another one is building toys. So Legos, building blocks, a sensory bin. Oh, that's what I forgot. I forgot to take out my sensory bin. So a sensory bin, you'll see it in the picture. Let's see. Oh yeah, so pretend play items. There is the top left, the little grocery bag that you see here on Amazon. If you type in learning resources, so let me type it in here for you. Learning resources. So learning resources, they have amazing, good quality toys. My kids have all chewed through them and they have not come apart. Melissa and Doug has really great pretend play items. I think all of these are either Melissa and Doug and learning resources. Building blocks, so you have these, what are they called? Bristle blocks or something. So the Legos. magnetic tiles. I don't know if any of you have magnetic tiles. Let me see. I'm sure I took them out. Oh, here. I told you there's a lot of toys around me. So magnetic tiles. I have tried every single type of magnetic tile. There is the Picasso brand on Amazon, which is usually the cheaper one. I highly recommend them. They are perfect if it's your first set of blocks. What we did is we tried out the magnet tiles, and we tried out these are kinetics, I think. Kinetics. And I prefer the kinetics. They have a much stronger magnet. However, they are like triple the price. And again, this was a gift that we got last Christmas from family members. I'm grateful that we have these because they are very strong. So if your kids are, family members want to buy a gift, this is really a perfect gift. But the Picasso ones that are just a fraction of the price, I'm happy with them. We have a mix of them now. And they're able to build tall towers. They don't really fall apart. I'm not sure if the kinetics ones are keeping them stronger, but they are a really strong magnet. Magnetic tiles, they were just as strong as the Picasso, but again, like 3 or 4 times the price. So for me, the better investment was the kinetics. I don't know if any of you have questions for magnetic tiles. Again, for a younger child under 3, it's under adult supervision. I'm just bringing them up as an idea. Because there are little screws here. My kids have been throwing them around, the kinetics. They haven't come apart, but it is recommended for 3 and older. But if you want, what I do with my baby is all I do is I keep this that's in front of me. I make a little cube and I place this on the shelf, and this is on the shelf in the kitchen, near the kitchen. So I'm always around him, and this is something he plays with. He just takes it apart and then kind of like tries to slap them together. Oh, somebody has requested to speak. Let's see if I could bring her in. Shelly, or hey, I said yes, it didn't bring you in. Hey, that's weird. You disappeared. How do I bring you back in? Shelly, can you request it again? Why isn't it inviting you in? Or can you post your question, I guess, in the chat box? I don't know why that didn't work. So for these magnetic tiles, I really recommend that brand. Shelly, if you hear me, just maybe put the question in the Q&A. I don't know why. I saw. Oh, you didn't mean to request. Okay, that's fine. That's why it didn't work. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, and I just wanted to bring up this picture. So these I got from Amazon. They're like little toy cars, like building or tractors and stuff. Again, these are toys that allowed my children to play with them from a young age, where I create sensory bins, and I'll show you a picture of that. But also, they're good to have around. And oh, sorry, can you please tell the name of the magnet products? Yes, the magnetic. It's called Melissa. Oh, that's a lot of screaming upstairs. Sorry, Doug. I hope everybody's okay. I'm actually nervous now. Melissa and Doug. Melissa and Doug is the brand. No, I don't hear crying at all. Melissa and Doug is the brand for the magnetic, magnets. And you just type Melissa and Doug magnets in Amazon and you'll find them. Okay, so yeah, that's just a picture of an activity, especially a young child. They don't need much, but creating little activities like this with electrical tape. And I just taped my kids' toys and some popsicle sticks to a tray that I had. That's one of my serving trays. It's truly a lot of simplicity at that age. I find that between the ages of 1 and 2, I don't know if any of you agree, if you have children that age, you can place any toy around them and they seem to play with everything else but those toys. So I try to minimize what I purchase at that age and just kind of create opportunities for learning, exploring stuff, like taping their objects to the window or to the wall, just creates a play opportunity without having to purchase too much. Okay, so let's see. Let's move on to the next. This is a sensory bin. So I have a storage container that is specific to just sensory bins with my kids. I place anything that is safe to their age. So here you have dried chickpeas, and it's always under supervision, this type of activity. If you haven't tried sensory bins yet, I highly recommend them because it's what sort of captivates a child for a long time in play. It intrigues them. I usually put like measuring cups and measuring spoons and bowls. that's a lot. I'm so sorry if you hear that crying. And buckets and spoons and stuff. So it's really what I love playing with the most. This is another example of a sensory bin for very young kids. Here I have Cheerios that I used, and I had like a little mallet that came with an IKEA toy to smash the little kind of pretend nails inside, and a mortar and pestle. It's cereal, and it's a game for kids. So when I'm looking at this kind of play in terms of toys, what do I purchase? Any little random wooden part that I can add to it, a little wooden spoon that I found at the dollar store, these rings. If you go on Amazon and you type in wooden rings, you'll get a bunch of them. You know, these animals, these Schleck, I can type in the kind, but I actually don't know, Schleck, something like that. I don't think that's how you spell it, but something like that. It's a really difficult name. But these are the types of toys that I, you know, by buying that, I can just, if my child is kind of bored or needs an activity, I can just put something together in a few minutes. 3 to 5 years old. Again, pretend play items. So you can have, even at 2 years old, dolls, you know, pretend restaurant items, you know, boxes. So, oh wait, where did I have that? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you something also. Don't underestimate the power. I'm just gonna have a glass of water. The power of trays and boxes and bins. At such a young age, even if it's 2 years old, anything that our children could place objects inside, and I'm going to talk about loose parts now for 3 to 5 year olds, anything that they can put inside a basket, a box of some sort, like an old lunch box that you're not using anymore, an old makeup bag, that is a toy for them that they can play with in their environment. Anything that's divided, like I showed you before, a divided tray, offering this in their play environment is something that they can use for play and use it a lot. I forgot to mention one toy at age 1. Where is it here? So if you have an 18-month-old or 24-month-old, this is kind of like a child's first like board game. So basically they roll it, it's soft so nobody can get hurt, and I couldn't find the cards, but basically it comes with a pack of cards that are tucked, usually go inside the cube. And what happens is that if let's say you roll purple, they have to choose a purple card that you lay out on the floor, and the card might say jump, or it might say touch your nose, or it might say find something purple, or it might say what does a cow say. And it's a really good game. I just lost it. It rolled across my basement. But it's a good game because it allows the language development around that age. This game is from the company. That's still a lot of crying. I don't know if you see the stress in my face, but there's a lot of crying upstairs. ThinkFun, roll and play. So that cube called the ThinkFun roll and play just really allows a child to develop those language skills, and you're playing a game with them. So they're also learning how to wait their turn. Sensory bins, loose parts, play. Okay, loose parts, play. So loose parts, basically, oh, and I forgot to show you puzzles at around 1 year old. You can have puzzles as well, these wooden peg puzzles. Melissa and Doug, that company I mentioned before, have a lot. This is a company called HAPE, or HAP, HAPE. So that's another company that I really recommend. By the way, this video I will upload onto my website by tomorrow. I already have a 2020 list of toys on my website, and at the bottom of my website as well, there's a recommended toy section, and all the links are there. So if you're looking and you're forgetting some certain things, this video will be up, the article, the blog post is there, and at the bottom of the page of my website, all my favorite toys are there. Now, loose parts. So loose parts, basically, you can find at the dollar store loose parts which are just random little objects, and you buy a lot of them. So these were a gift. These are loose parts. So they're just random little objects. And my kids, if I provide, let's say, a few of these, not all, because these are all going to end up on the floor, but a tray with, again, that little container. Where is it? So I usually put a few of these loose parts in here with a different tray, or I might even offer this tray in their environment. They create something with pretend play at 3 to 5 years old. They're just always playing some sort of pretend play. So open-ended toys that don't have a purpose, such as loose parts, are a great way to offer that opportunity to play pretend anything that they want. Sometimes we play pretend bank. I forgot to show you these. These are by Learning Resources. And oh, I forgot. I have to go get something upstairs, actually. These are from Learning Resources, and these are pegs, geopegs, and it comes with this like blue foam, and you can stack them. And it's nice because it could be used as a loose part. My baby can play with this, but then I can play with my older kids and also do some sequencing with them, you know, like, can you copy the same colors? So it's a nice toy. This is from the company, hold on, edX Education. So I'm writing this in the chat so that you see the name. Any toy, honestly, by edX Education, I absolutely love. They have something here called, I don't know if you've ever heard of these, but they're called rainbow pebbles. So I don't know if you noticed, but everything for me is like put away in a container. It's easier to store and to find. These are called the rainbow pebbles, and these are some of my favorite, not just because the colors are so nice, but my kids, if I provide, again, not all of these because they will end up just everywhere on the floor, but a small container with different shapes, the ones that are bigger so that my baby can play with them. They just create, like, they pretend it's a pond, and then they take out, let's say, the animals, and they place them on it. They have some frogs and reptiles, so they might take that out together and play with these. So this is an example of an open-ended toy, and edX Education has tons of these open-ended toys, including these rainbow pebbles, they're called, and they're up on Amazon as well. And edX Education has these are called, I think, geosticks. And basically it comes with a card, and with these sticks, they have to build what they see here. But again, because it's an open-ended toy, so you can either follow what you see here, or sometimes I just give them a bunch in a tray and they build this beautiful things, just what's on their mind, right? They're creating, and that's what you want to really nurture, especially between the ages of 3 and 5, is that creativity and ability to think outside the box. And there's no right or wrong answer at that age, so it's really a fun age for that part of it. In terms of creativity, I also like to offer, and I usually do this in here, so in terms of arts and crafts, what I like to do is cut up, let's say, some different colored paper, and I place it in here, and then I might put a few markers or crayons in one section, and then I'll put some stickers in here, and I have a box of hole punchers. So most of these are from the dollar store that I've just collected along the years. And they just basically punch the paper and make different shapes. So I have like a butterfly, and I've seen, some of these are also from Michael's. And another thing that I like to have in there is, so my kids love to paint, which is really, I didn't mind it before the baby, but now with the baby around, it's kind of hard. So what I've discovered, and what I really think is practical to have in your house, are two things. So this is from Amazon. I don't even know what. So these are dot markers, and it's from a company called Do a Dot. I'll write it down. Do a dot art. So these kids are able to like stamp, and it's non-toxic. So it's kind of like those bingo stamps, but it's paint that isn't toxic. So it's a great way to do an activity with the kids. And the second one, where did I put it, are these paint sticks, and these are from Michael's. And again, this is a way to have something that's different from markers or crayons. And it's a great gift because, you know, if your child is into arts and crafts, then it's a great way to give them something new to explore, and you don't have to you know, just keep adding to like the paint, but it's a different kind of paint. Board games. I really recommend the company called Peaceable Kingdom. I'm going to put it close here. Peaceable Kingdom. These are cooperative games. So what's nice is that there isn't a winner or a loser. It's let's work together to you know, come up with or here we're against the bugs under the rug. So either the bugs win or we win. So it's a game where you work together with your kids to get the to win the game. And this one's really fun. But honestly, anything, I have a few others that I didn't bring down, but anything by Peaceable Kingdom. Another one, this is which company? I'm not sure actually. Another game that's really fun that the kids love is called the Sneaky Snacky Squirrel. Say that 10 times. So the Sneaky Snacky Squirrel is another fun game, and it's nice because it's also a motor activity where you have to kind of grab the little acorn. But these are for, yeah, older kids, so 3 years and over. So these are, again, the 3 to 5 category. I forgot a box upstairs, and I'm going to run to get it because I don't want to miss out on telling you about this new thing. Are there any of you here that are from Montreal? And just give me 1 second, and I will go get a toy that I forgot upstairs. So the reason why I forgot these toys is because my kids have been playing with this since the weekend. If you're from Montreal, oh hi, okay, perfect. Hi Laura, hi Alexandra. So I just found out about this company called Walkie Kits. I'm gonna write it down if you want. I ran too fast. I'm so impressed with this company. So you know that I talk a lot about sensory activities. So my kids have been playing with this all day. It's a sensory kit. So she makes these kits, Emily. I don't know if Emily, if you're here, but basically you get some Play-Doh. So this one is purple and this one is white. And this particular kit is the lavender kit, and she gives you real lavender and you get these absolutely beautiful wooden toys. And in here they put the lavender, and they were squashing it to make like a, you know, fine, to make it fine. And they placed it inside their Play-Doh. And it comes with like cookie cutters and a wooden, some wooden toys and a ring and a spoon. Unfortunately, it's only in Montreal, so those of you who are not in Montreal, she doesn't deliver very far. But it comes with loose parts, and it's just a stunning kit. I'm so impressed with this. So if somebody's looking to offer you a gift, or even if you have to offer a gift to someone, or even for your own kids, these little kits, this one is the gingerbread kit. I wish that you could smell this because it smells so good. I don't know why I can't open it, but it's, again, I have to open this because I have to show you what's inside. So this one came with brown Play-Doh that smells like a gingerbread cookie that I'm surprised my kids haven't eaten yet. And again, a nice little wooden Play-Doh kit. It comes with cookie cutters and the cutest little toys, candy toys that I've ever seen. So I have to say I've been having fun with my kids too, playing with this. So I just wanted to show you this. In the States, so you know, this is not a subscription, but it's really a good idea to get because it's something that your kids will use for a long time. There's Kiwi Co. The name of the company, yeah, I'm gonna write it down actually. Jabber. There are lots of different Jabber Walkie. No. Walkie kits. So you can search for her. I think I spoke about her in my stories on Instagram. So anyways, I just had to mention this because I'm in love with these kits. Okay, let's move on. I think we're done. So I was talking to you about containers. I don't have all my containers, but jewelry trays that are divided. This is a dish rack that I use with clothespins and baby socks as an activity. It's really things that we don't think about. And that's what I hope you learn tonight, that it's not just about the most popular toy. Somebody asked me about Leapfrog. Yes, Leapfrog is a great addition to toys, but again, it's one of those battery operated ones. It's not going to teach creativity the same way that a tray with some bins and some beans and some spoons and kids will play with this and create some sort of world, and we need to be mindful of that to give them lots of opportunity to create stuff. So Leapfrog isn't bad, but I if you have one of those, I would add a lot more of these to balance things out. Let's see. Yeah, this is just another example of how I create a little setup for play. Pretend play toys. Again, I don't offer all of them, so even if they have a big doctor's kit, I offer a few of them on a serving tray sometimes, and I try to minimize what's around them. These are loose parts. Chickadee's wooden toys, that's in the States. They have, Becky is the person who runs this, and I mean, just looking at that tray with those little acorns and mushrooms, it makes me want to play. These are our Chickadee's wooden toys. The quality of these toys is just so beautiful, and my kids love it. The more colorful things are, they tend to like it. This is from Chickadee's wooden toys. I'll link it. I'll write it on the page after. Give me a second and I'll write it. Another thing at 3 to 5 years old, kinetic sand. Kinetic sand my kids play with all the time. It feels so good. And it's just the coolest little thing. It kind of it's sticky sand, but not in a weird way. When my kids want to play with this, I kind of get excited because I'm like, yeah, I can play with it too. And then I take out their little trucks and I'll put it in that big storage bin that I showed you in one of the pictures. So that $5 storage bin is used for all ages. I put a truck inside. I might put some animals in the big bin with the sand. So again, these are toys that you'll use for many, many purposes. Laura, oh, you were the one, the Leapfrog, because a lot of people use it. But I do prefer, yeah. So again, it's not that it's bad. It's fine. But I just want people to be mindful of how many of those are in the environment. Okay, so let's move on. We're almost done. What time is it? 9:50. Okay. Oh, the game sequence. If you're looking for some games for ages, sequence I think is closer to 5. It might be 4 or 5, but that game sequence for kids is really fun. It's about matching, so it's a simple concept. Outfoxed, I believe, is 5 years old and over. We don't often think of these board games, but these board games allow our children to plan, and create strategies. It allows them to learn how to wait for their turn. So especially if let's say tonight you have a 3 or 4 year old and you haven't bought a board game yet, and you start with Snug as a bug in a rug, then I would really suggest that you're patient when you start with them, because like I've seen with my kids, they don't know what it is to wait for their turn, especially when they have their first game. So you might spin and then it's their turn and it's your turn again, but they're going to spin twice in a row. So I love board games for this purpose, because it allows them to understand that sometimes you need to wait for your turn and that it's part of playing with somebody else. So having one, I think, is really important. So this was the role and play game. These pictures that I'm showing you are from my website. So again, if you go to curiousneuron.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, it says favorite products. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. Where is that? Wow, this is crazy. Okay. So these are from IKEA. And what I place in here are the sensory bin toys. If you have, I would say, child 18 months and over. These are from Learning Resources that are up on Amazon. These are just so fun to play with. I use them in the bathtub. In the summer, I bring them outside to play in the sandbox. When I have a sensory bin with dried beans or rice, it comes with 4 pieces. It comes with this too for water. And here. So this is the kit that it comes with. It's truly worth buying this, especially if your kids are younger, because you'll use it for a long time. I was talking about loose parts before. Loose parts could be pretty expensive. These are also loose parts from the dollar store. So it's just something that has no purpose to us. But when kids see this and you put it nicely, let's say in a little tray or something, with some animals. All of a sudden, they see these little wooden pieces and they see it in a tray, and you have an animal beside it, and they say, "Oh, wait a second, maybe this is food that I have to offer my elephant." And it becomes something that they create and develop. So it's great for their imagination. And yeah, and again, you don't have to have the learning resources one. I don't want to promote a specific company for something, but you know, this is a scoop kind of spoon, whatever, that I found at the dollar store, and I use this in my sensory bins. So I wanted to show you that. Okay, let's move on. Melissa and Doug toys at the bottom right, on the right side. Something they manipulate and have to open. It's developing those motor skills. So anything with a latch. Here they have at the bottom right this little toolkit, which my kids love. I don't always have it on the shelf. I've noticed that their attention towards it kind of diminishes a little bit more quickly than most toys, but I like bringing it in because it has something that you have to screw. So that kind of action is a little harder for kids to learn. So I like bringing it in once in a while. All these are on my website. We don't have to go through this, but what I wanted to bring up again is these cooperative games. So that same company that has Snug as a Bug in a Rug has Hoot Owl Hoot. Zingo is another fun one. I think it's 4 or 5 and older. And that one is a matching game. So again, it's about waiting your turn. And this one, there is a winner. I've noticed that I love having this game as well as cooperative games because you make the transition from a game where there is no winner. It's either we win or we lose together as a team. And then you bring in Zingo, which is it's basically bingo with objects, it's, you know, pictures. And kids sort of don't like losing, and it's perfect because it provides that opportunity to speak to them and to guide them when they're feeling sort of mad that they lost, which will help them later on. Can I please know the wooden toys brand? Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you. I'm gonna bring these wooden toys. Thank you for reminding me. And okay, let's move on to the next. 6 years and over. There were a few that had older children. Oh, I forgot that one upstairs. Okay, it's on my website though. So Curiosity, tinkering, board games, and card games. So that's what I think of when I think of an older child. So in terms of curiosity and tinkering, on Amazon, there is the company called National Geographics, and they have National Geographic STEM, National Geographic Kids. They have different ones. They can have gemstones, they can have fossils. These are really great, even if a child is 5. Depends on your child, or if you think they'll like this. But they have to like dig through things and find gemstones or fossils and so on. So it's really fun for the kids, and then they can learn about the different fossils and the different stones or gems that they found, and you can have a conversation around it. You know, let's look it up on the internet and figure something out together. So I like that kind of toy for an older kid, because it just allows more opportunity to for that thinking process of, okay, let me have fun doing this, and then let me figure out what this is. So that's just my 2 cents for older kids. Oh, these are really small. I like, oh, I didn't bring that up. So if you have an older child, the company ThinkFun, most of their toys are amazing. It's all these independent, sorry, it's small. I just took a screenshot from my website. All these, because I had no more space around me. All these toys are like independent games, but they're strategy games. I like, you know, we don't have to have a bunch of these, but having one, I think is a great way to sit with our children. And when I used to work privately with kids, I would bring one of these toys in when I had an elementary school child that truly struggled with motivation when things weren't working well. And these are great because when they can't figure it out, if they just want to give up, at least you can be that voice for them, and to say like, okay, let's try to figure it out together. So there's a lot more that comes out of these games. It's not just about figuring out the solution, but it's the skills that they'll learn that'll help them later on. And again, the game sequence, Sushi Go, if you have an older child. I don't know if you guys have game nights at your home, but these games are just so fun. We have all of these games. Sushi Go is just, we played with our relatives too. Santorini, Hive, what is this one called? Forbidden Island for older kids, and Dr. Eureka. Again, these are all on my website, but these are games that we might not have thought of, and they're amazing, fun strategy games that are not very long. I know that with some kids, it's an attention thing, and that's fine. They don't want to stay too long and play like Catan or whatever it is. But these games are shorter and there's still strategy in them. And it's really great in early elementary school to help them build that strategy thinking. And that's it. That's all I have. I hope that this helped you. Let me get out of this presentation and stop slide presentation. I just really wanted to, I don't know if I didn't show you this, but if you have a baby, this I've had it since my firstborn was a baby. It's from Hape, again, that HAPE company. It's a wooden cube that has like the beads at the top. And then the first thing they started doing with this is they would smash the ball and the ball goes all the way down. There are many companies that make objects like this. I just prefer this one, but there are other good ones. But having this, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because a baby will start lifting themselves with this, and then eventually they'll stand. And because they're really heavy, they're able to walk around it. So this toy, well, it's a toy, but it helped all three of my kids learn how to walk around stuff and take their first steps, because they would push it around the house. So, we put it against the wall, which would allow them to stand, and then they started moving around the house with it. So it really helped them with walking. And just want to make sure, yeah, that's about it. Oh, wait, I have one more thing. I don't know if any of you have heard of the company. If you have a child who's 3 and over, Con2 Kids. Have you heard of Con2 Kids blocks? This is another one. It's a brand and a company that I have to bring up because I absolutely love. So basically, Con2 Kids is a company in the States. These are magnetic blocks. So they're magnetic, but it's the greatest math toy that I've ever seen for young kids. And I was on the news last Christmas here in Montreal, and I remember the person interviewing me said, a math toy for a 3-year-old? And I was like, yeah, it is. It comes with these, so it basically, this is the jumbo kit that I have. It goes up to 10. And basically it comes with these cards, these activity cards that you could, here. So an activity card might tell you, talk about counting. So the activity is, can you count the bits? So you have all of these, so you have to place it in your child's environment this way. My kids sometimes just, place them onto this block. They're not very strong. My board is not very strong, but they place it on the fridge. They'll play with it as loose parts. But also, it's not just a math activity, but it's also a STEM, so science. So here you learn about weight and balance, because you take a longer one of these trays that they have. You place the 4 tray, the 1 tray, and then the 3, and you place only 2 bits on each end, and it becomes a balancing game. And it comes also with these number cards. So you might give your child this card and say, okay, how many stars are there? Place the amount of bits, that matches these stars. And then you might do a counting game with your child and say, okay, how many are here? And then they turn around. This is the number 6. So even if you have a younger child who's 3, who's learning how to count or learning how to recognize numbers, this is a game that you can play with them. They even have, where is it? I have the equal sign here, but they have the plus and the minus sign. So I might, with my older child, write 6 plus something equals and then leave it blank. And then I leave this 10 tray, and then she has to put the bits. And if it's, let's say, 2 plus 2, she'll write 2. Oops, I lost my bit. She'll write 2 plus 2, and then she'll put another one, and then she'll count them all and say 2 plus 2 is 4. So it's honestly just having it, again, one of those toys that will last you so many years. I'm sure that I'm going to be using this in early elementary school with my kids. It's just a fantastic toy to have around. Okay, that's it. I think I've spoken about toys way too much. I hope that you all learned something. Again, my purpose wasn't just to promote all these different brands, but really to give you an idea of what to look out for when you're shopping for toys for your kids. Subscriptions are fun. Here in Canada, there's Owl Magazine. In the States, there's so much. There's Monty Kids. There's Loveberry, I think it's called, or Loveberry. And somebody let me know. There's Auntie Kids. There's Kiwi Co. So there are lots of nice subscriptions. If somebody wants to offer that to your child, or if you want to do that, there's science kits and so on. So that's another real a great toy to offer. Have a great night. I hope to see you all at the next family meeting. For those of you who are regulars, I'm not going to have a family meeting next Monday. I think I'm going to start cutting it down just to 3. Like I won't have a family meeting on the last Monday of the month, just to make it easier to give me time to think of the next topics and so on. But I look up on my website and I'll write the topic for the following Monday. And I do have a special guest that's going to talk about character building. Not the first week, but the second week of December. We're going to talk about how to build character skills in our kids, like empathy and so on. So I hope to see you then. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Catherine, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.